Every year, approximately $35 billion of what's known as co-op advertising goes unused and unspent. Many retailers do not have the time, expertise, or know-how to access these funds. Some, in fact, don't even know they exist. Experiencing this herself, Amber Simpson set up a company called CoVault, which aims to simplify and standardize the process through an online platform so that small business can thrive. This is an interesting problem, Amber, but what is co-op advertising?
Yeah, thanks, Randy. Good question. So co-op advertising is really the simple idea of two parties sharing in advertising. So a simple example would be if you were to look in your local newspaper and see a car ad, good chances are that ad is shared by the brand, say Nissan, and the local Nissan dealership. So co-op is really cooperative advertising, two parties that share in advertising.
So when I see an ad for Nissan on national television, and it's about Nissan, that's obviously just paid for by Nissan. What you're saying is that Nissan wants its local dealers to also do their own advertising?
Yes, the brands really encourage local advertising because that allows them to have a better market share in the local market and also gives them more brand awareness in the local market.
And theoretically, the local dealer knows how to better spend the advertising dollar than the national company. Is that the idea?
Well, really, the local dealer wants to advertise locally so that it drives customers to their store to purchase the product.
But they can choose whether they want to go in the newspaper, or on the radio, or whatever. Now, what you're saying is that the national brand will either pay part or all of the cost of that advertising?
Yes, yeah. So brands will reimburse a retailer for a brand compliant ad, usually 50% at least in the advertisement spend. So it's very helpful for retailers to have access to these funds.
So you have come up with a way to make it simpler for, I guess, the retailer to take advantage of $35 billion of unspent dollars?
Yeah,
that sounds bizarre.
Yeah, it is. It's a problem we experienced firsthand with our own family dealership and experienced how difficult it was to get our ads co-op approved and launch the ads and get the reimbursement. So the time cycle, it's sometimes up to a month to go through this process. As we looked into this, we realized that co-op marketing is a massive problem. And in the US alone, there's $70 billion available for co-op advertising. And like you mentioned, $35 billion is left unused. It's available to retailers. They're just not able to access it.
So both the retailers and the national companies love what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yes, it benefits both parties.
So CoVault is the company that you dreamed up and created through your own experience. What about you? Tell us your personal story. Are you an entrepreneur from the start?
Yeah, I guess I have been. I've had an interesting past. It started with counseling, owned a very large childcare center, moved into real estate, grew a really strong, active real estate company, and now have moved into technology. So it's been, yeah.
So you're trained, your career, you were going to be a counselor?
Yeah.
So you trained as a counselor?
Yeah.
And tell me about that transition to how you ended up with your own center.
It was kind of, again, a problem that just needed to be fixed. So had a child, was looking for good childcare along with a couple partners, and we weren't able to find a good childcare center we were all happy with, so we thought, let's create one. So we decided to create a really high quality academy for children, and that was very successful. And then decided to go into real estate, and then now technology. So yeah. So
and tell me about your real estate career. Like, you became a real estate agent, started selling homes. Is that kind of along those lines?
Yeah, really started to create, I would say, a very customer service type of real estate business with my team. We worked with clients in the same way that we would want to be treated if we were the client. So we would go over and above staging homes, doing really high-end marketing, giving great communication, and just working with our clients in a really hands-on way to make it a really positive experience.
So you're a counselor, but you became a problem solver that started doing it by creating your own businesses. So this is essentially your third business, and this one is in the technology world.
Yeah.
So I guess there's so many people out there that would dream of starting their own internet company or building an app, and let's go do it.
Right.
What have you found so far? You're obviously tackling a huge mega problem across the world, but I guess starting with North America.
Yeah.
Tell me what the process of how you decided to jump in and do that.
I think it's as soon as we experienced the pain point ourselves and then identified the problem and saw how massive it was just too good to not try to solve. It was like, we just need to try to solve this. And so really,
but you're a counselor and a child care owner and a realtor. You're not a technology gal.
Right, yeah, that's right. But it was just through the idea that that something could be possible to take, a system that's using fax machines and put it onto an online platform. It was just very exciting. And
hold on a minute. We're in 2019.
Yeah.
You said the system was using fax machines?
It still is.
What?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how, there's many businesses that are still going through this approval process, and it's very cumbersome, and their paperwork is in some ways not to modern standards, and fax machines are definitely still being used. Yeah, I mean, mostly now it's emails,
but how does a big company that's got they've got all these retailers, independent, I guess, mostly franchisees, right?
Yeah.
That they want them to do their own local advertising. How can it be that they would say, I can understand the government maybe, with medical records or something, but even they're going digital.
Yeah.
How could it be that big companies would still be so far behind?
That's right, yeah. And we're really at the right time because they're understanding this needs to change. 80% of co-op advertising has been going to traditional media such as print. And now they're realizing that we need to become modern and go with the digital era. And so a lot of brands are requiring that the retailers spend at least 50%, sometimes even 100% of their co-op funds on digital advertising. And the challenge is the retailers are just not sure how to go about doing a proper digital campaign, getting it approved, and how to send in the invoice and the proof that the campaign ran.
I wouldn't know how to do it. I wouldn't know where to start with digital advertising. So Facebook ads, for example.
Yeah.
So does your system help the retailer navigate through the new world of advertising?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've created a really simple, effective way for retailers to be able to launch digital ads. So we've got two options. A retailer can create their own ad, or they can use one of our templates, our ready-made templates. And then they choose which channel they want it to go to. So we've got, the current digital channels like Facebook, Instagram, Google DoubleClick, and we're also including some other really exciting media channel partners right now. Use.ca, we've got Lamar Outdoor Advertising, and we're in communication also with a couple other possible exciting other options. Radio is one as well that we are in some chats with. So we want to be able to offer a retailer the choice to do cross-channel marketing or just a very targeted campaign depending on what the product is and where they want to advertise. And from our platform, they choose all this and they also get it co-op approved. Again, like I said, the process used to take about a month, and on our platform, we're seeing our retailers have responses back in an hour.
So the way it works is, I own some kind of retail franchise.
Yeah.
And I know that because of my franchise agreement that there's co-op dollars available to me if I run an ad in the local newspaper.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, but I think I should be doing Facebook advertising instead.
Yeah.
So I would have to get that pre-approved before I spend the money in order to get recouped.
Absolutely, yes. So it's that approval process that is really what we've streamlined. So in order to get your reimbursement from the brand for your advertisement, you first have to go through the approval process. And so on our online platform, it's making it very easy. And the brand is getting a notification instantly. They're able, just even from a mobile device, they're able to see the ad that has just been sent for approval, and then they're able to approve it, or they can send suggestions as to how they want it changed. Once the retailer gets this approval, then from our platform they can launch it directly to the media channel of their choice. And then we also are able to send analytics to the brand and retailer on how well the ad performed. And we're able to help out with the invoicing and reimbursement. So it's beginning to end a solution to help with co-op advertising.
And how do you make money?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Randy. So we have a couple different pricing models that we're working with. Again, there's a pricing for the brand if they want to take us on for all of their retailers. There's a pricing that we can offer just individual retailers. And there's also a percentage of ads sent through our platform to our media channel partners.
So can the payment back to the retail actually flow through your system?
So that's something that at some point we
Next
could
step
look at.
kind of thing.
But right now there's a lot of different accounting systems with each brand, and so not something we've wanted to tackle yet. So it's something though that yeah, maybe down the road we'll see.
So you did your own. You're a counselor. You start your own daycare center. You start your own real estate company. Neither of those two types of businesses you didn't need to raise money for, right? So talk to me about that whole world of, because I know you've probably been raising capital, because these types of things require capital to set up the whole infrastructure and the technology before you can start generating revenue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and especially with what we're trying to tackle, it is such a large problem where we want to be able to have the capital behind us for maximum growth. So it is something we started but with bootstrapping, and now we've realized to go at the speed that we want to tackle this problem, we've started raising. So
you're based in Victoria, British Columbia, which is part of Canada.
Yeah.
And Victoria is not exactly the Silicon Valley of Canada. So talk to me about that process.
Yeah.
So someone's watching this show and they're thinking, I got this idea for, an app or whatever.
Yeah.
And how do I raise money?
Right. Yeah, good question. So you're right, it's not Silicon Valley, although I have to say I'm very proud of Victoria. We have a very vibrant tech community, so it is growing, and we've had some exciting tech companies come out of Victoria. That being said, so we do have a nice group of local angels, so that's where you would sort of start, is by pitching to local angels. There's also some great VC companies from Vancouver and Kelowna that have really leaned into Victoria companies as well.
Angel investors and venture capital companies.
That's
just
right.
In case we don't know the vernacular.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and again, there's still the option of leaving BC and looking elsewhere. So that's another option, but it's great to be able to raise within your own province.
So how are you, you're the CEO of CoVault, you're responsible for all of this.
Yeah.
It's a crash course then in capital raising, for example. It's a crash course in technology. It's a crash course over here.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone who, like you, you don't have the background for it, yet here you are the CEO.
Right. So make sure you surround yourself with really, really intelligent people. And that is really why we've been able to build and get as successful as we have so far, is that we have a great team. It's a small team, but we're small and mighty, and we have a very diverse set of skills. So we have the skills in product, we have the skills in marketing, and also the skills in co-op advertising.
So just before we let you go, I know that you want to say hi to somebody out in TV land.
Yes.
So why don't you look right in the camera?
Yes, I promised my beautiful 8-year-old daughter, Naya, that I would say, hi, Naya.
Hi, Naya.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks.